I have a confession. Some of the hardest middle school transitions that I'd seen weren't because the kids weren't ready. They were because the adults loved them so much, they accidentally stood in the way of their growth. Not on purpose, out of love, because helping feels like good parenting. But sometimes the very thing that protects our kids today keeps them from becoming confident tomorrow. Today, we're talking about what I believe is the biggest mistake incoming sixth grade parents make. It's not buying the wrong backpack. It's not forgetting about school supplies. It's not even worrying too much. So pull up a chair. Let's talk about it. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Two Cent Charlie podcast. I am Charlia, but please call me Charlie. Today, we're talking about what I believe is the biggest mistake that incoming sixth grade parents make. It's not about buying the wrong backpack. It's not about forgetting the school supplies. It's not even worrying too much. It's doing for your child what they're finally old enough to begin doing for themselves. Now, before you think this episode is about guilt, let me reassure you it isn't. This is about preparing our kids for middle school in a way that builds confidence instead of dependence, because our job isn't to make every obstacle disappear. Our job is to make sure our children believe they can handle the obstacles they'll inevitably face. So, pull up a chair. Let's get into it. In elementary school, your job is often to be the manager. You check the folder, you sign the paper, you know when picture day is, you know when library books are due, you know who the teacher is and probably where she shops for coffee. You are deeply involved in every little detail. That is appropriate. Elementary students need that support, but middle school changes the game. The goal is no longer for you to manage everything. The goal is to gradually teach your child to manage themselves. That's a hard shift for some because parents often think if I stop helping, I'll be setting them up for failure. But sometimes helping too much prevents them from learning, and learning is exactly what middle school is for. Let me ask you a few questions to help put this in perspective. In elementary school, fifth grade, who packed your child's backpack? Who remembers Spirit Week? Who knew when the assignments were due? Who checked their grades? Who emailed the teacher? Who kept track of the missing work? If the answer to all of those questions is me or their dad or my spouse or my partner, then this episode is definitely for you. Now, before anybody sends me an angry email, I'm not saying abandon your child. I'm saying start transferring responsibility because one day your child is going to be standing in front of a teacher, a boss, a college professor, or a coach, and you won't be there. The skills they need then are being built now. Middle school is practice, not perfection, practice. When parents hear the word independence, they sometimes imagine complete freedom. And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about supported independence. Think of it like teaching a child to ride a bike. You don't shove them down the hill and wish them luck. You also don't keep them in training wheels forever. You guide, you coach, you gradually release responsibility. So, what does that look like in practical terms? Okay. Instead of, did you do your homework? We try, what's your plan for getting your homework done tonight? Instead of, let me email your teacher. We try, what do you think you could say to your teacher? Instead of, here's exactly what you need to do. We try, what options do you think you have? One approach builds dependence, the other builds problem solving. So let's get practical. If your child starts sixth grade in a few weeks, here are some skills worth practicing now. Skill number one, talking to adults. Can your child introduce themselves, ask a question, clarify directions, Request help respectfully. This sounds simple. It isn't. Many students would rather sit confused than ask an adult for help. So practice now at restaurants, at stores, at church, at family gatherings, anywhere. Skill number two, managing a schedule. Middle school comes fast. Students move from class to class, assignments pile up, deadlines matter. Have your child start using a calendar, a planner, even a phone reminder system. You could go to Dollar Tree or Target, just something simple that allows their brain to start tracking and taking accountability for their things. Not because they'll do it perfectly, but they'll need that habit later. Skill number three, solving problems. This one is huge. If something goes wrong, pause before solving it immediately. Ask, uh, what do you think you should do? You might be amazed by the answers, actually. Sometimes kids already know the solution, they just need the confidence to approach it on their own. Skill number four, handling disappointment. This skill is becoming increasingly rare. Not every teacher will be their favorite. Not every friend will choose them first. Not every grade will be an A. Can they hear no and recover? Can they accept feedback? Can they learn from mistakes? Those are middle school superpowers. Now, let's change gears for a moment. Something that I call the parent trap. I want to lovingly call us out for a second. Sometimes we confuse helping with protecting, and sometimes we confuse protecting with preventing growth. Nobody likes watching their child struggle. Nobody. But growth often looks messy, as you have heard me say plenty of times if you've been tuning in. Think about learning to walk. We celebrate babies for falling. Imagine if we reacted to walking the same way we react to middle school mistakes. Oh no, they fell. That's it. No more walking. Sounds crazy, right? Yet that's kind of what we do emotionally. We rush in before kids get a chance to figure things out. Struggle isn't always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes it's evidence that learning is happening. So, here's something I feel schools need from parents. I will give you a little behind the scenes perspective as an assistant principal. The students who typically adjust best to middle school aren't always the smartest. They aren't always the most organized. They aren't always the highest achievers. They are usually the students whose parents are helping them develop ownership. And ownership sounds like, did you ask your teacher? What's your plan? How are you going to fix it? What did you learn from this? Those questions build responsibility, and responsibility builds confidence. So, if you're listening today and realizing you've been carrying things your child could start carrying themselves, don't beat yourself up. That's what loving parents do. We help. Sometimes we help a little too much, but the good news is middle school is the perfect time to start shifting. Not all at once, not overnight, little by little. One responsibility at a time, one conversation at a time, one opportunity at a time. Because the goal isn't to raise a child who always needs you. The goal is to raise a child who knows you'll always be there while they're learning to stand on their own. That's a very fascinating thing. And it's one of the greatest gifts we can give them. As a little bonus to this episode, I do want to share something with you that will help ignite reflection. That's the hope of my heart, anyway. The next episode that I am attaching to this one that I wasn't necessarily going to include into my So Your Baby is Going to Middle School series, but the more that I reflected on what I truly hope to give parents as they navigate this phase of life, I want to give you a few different options of your type of parenting style. Because if we can prepare, then we can choose our responses. So, my bonus episode is going to be about the different type of parenting responses or the parenting styles. And I don't mean gentle parenting and all that stuff. I mean, how do we respond under stress? What is our typical go to response? For example, one of the most familiar parenting strategies that many people know, and you see it in movies and all the things, is the helicopter parent. But would you be surprised to know that there are some other parenting styles that may do a little bit more damage than being a helicopter parent? Check out that bonus episode, reflect, see where you fall. I'll give you the strengths and the pros and cons of each, actually. None are bad, but as I said before, if we can identify how we respond under stress, then it gives us that much more authority when we are navigating the hard moments that are sure to come. So, before the next episode, choose three things that your child will begin managing on their own. So that's this week's summer challenge. Maybe it's coming up with a plan to check their assignments. And you can write it down like step one, step two, step three. That way you're thinking through it before they even get there. So a lot of schools use different learning platforms. Our district, we use something called Schoology, and we also have like Power School that parents are able to log into to see their grades. Do a little bit of research. What is used in your district? Start getting familiar with that process now. If you know some other parents of middle school students who may be a little bit older than your kiddos, start looking through what that process is like so that you can start navigating that before you're under stress. Because let me tell you, that start of the school year, it happens really quickly. Next, packing their backpacks, setting their alarms, composing some emails, keeping track of practice schedules, club schedules, etc. Start small, stay consistent, let them wobble a little. That's how they will build their confidence before day one of middle school. As always, I would like to give you some pennies to put into your pocket. This week, I want to give you a take one and a leave one. So here is a take that I hope you put in your pocket for this episode. Take away, my child can learn to do hard things. Let's leave. It's easier if I just do it myself because easier today can become harder tomorrow. Next week, we're going to go behind the curtain, you guys, and we're going to talk about something that parents are always curious about: what middle school teachers wish parents knew. I'll share some truths, some myths, and a few things teachers would probably tell you themselves if they weren't trying to answer 17 emails all at the same time. I'm actually going to pull in some input from real educators across the nation who have worked in different capacities: Title I schools, suburban schools, charter schools, all the like. But what you might find surprising is just how similar a lot of their ideas and a lot of their opinions and their 2 cents of what they wish parents knew before day one of middle school. So you're going to want to check out that episode. Until next time, this is 2 Cent Charlie. I've given you my 2 cents. Take what you need, leave the rest, and share something with another middle school mom or parent who could use a little encouragement this week. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Peace.